News Hour. Members of Kampala City Traders Association, KACITA, have called for vigilance after a bomb blast at Komamboga, a Kampala suburb, on Saturday. They say that this will help avoid business disruption coupled with loss of both lives and property. They made the revelation during a press conference at their offices in Kampala. Bahati Ali has more.
Members from Kampala City Traders Association has requested the general public to be vigilant and conscious with who is around their business, as well as arguing them to report any suspicious security threat. They say that this will help avoid business disruption coupled with loss of both lives and property. They made the revelation during a press briefing in Kampala.
Any information which can be very vital to security organs as they carry out investigations about the attacks like the one which happened at Komamboga. We strongly believe as KACITA we have the capacity when we are working with security organs to make sure we create a very conducive working environment.
They expressed fear of a possible security threat that are posed by street vendors who are uncontrolled, disorganized and unregulated, saying that this may be used as an opportunity by terrorists to cause any security attack.
We strongly call upon KCCA and other security organs to intervene on the matter of street vendors, because street vending is non-trade order. It's so hard to regulate them, and it creates a very strong security threat. So we there call upon for an immediate action to make sure that our city is more secure.
They advised the vendors to follow the set SOPs and other guidelines to avoid further business disruptions and enforcement on the public with impunity.
As KACITA Uganda, we are committed to work with all security agencies to make sure our business community fully complies with proper guidelines from the police and other sister agencies. To our members, to respect the guidelines set by the Ministry of Health and the Presidential Directive about curfew hours. As we are trying to pursue the government to lift the curfew, like to our neighboring countries like Kenya, where curfew was lifted, so that we can operate smoothly without interference of the curfew restrictions. But currently, we call upon to abide with those restrictions to avoid unnecessary interference from the security and another lockdown.
They noted that without security, nothing much can be achieved for those that are in business world.
Without security, nothing much can be achieved on the side of economics or economy. Without security, little growth economically can be achieved. Without security, there is no socializing. And this, if we can put into effect what happened in Komamboga, Ugandans were socializing. The time was still around 8 p.m. And all of a sudden, boom, that left many injured and others dead. So with little or no security at all, we are devoid of socializing, be it politically, be it economically, which we need as Ugandans. And globally, as all nations, we need to participate in any kind of development through a secure environment.
They, however, condemned business members who have continued to violate the peace by people who are innocent.
I would like, as part of KACITA or part of leadership of KACITA, we condemn any kind of attack, especially if it's related to terrorism of any kind. And therefore, in this case, we are calling upon all Ugandans to be more vigilant and to know that one of our primary objectives or roles is to be security vigilant, conscious, and taking security as a key to development in our country. We should all fight hard and stand with government and other security organs and all any other peace-loving Ugandans to fight any kind of insecurity, report any suspicious objects, suspicious persons or personalities whom we feel might be carrying some kind of threat to the security of the
Kasita, the members of Kasita, Kampala City Traders Association, have actually called upon expressed fear over possible security threats that are posed by street vendors who are uncontrolled, diagnosed and unregulated, saying that this may be used as an opportunity by terrorists to cause any security attack. But at this particular time is to make sure that every person out there is vigilant. Look at people who are operating with restaurants and those who are actually illegally opening the bars during past curfew time. I guess it is time for all of us to remain vigilant here. It is now time to safeguard the lives of our customers or our clients, because at the end of the day, someone would feel better when the bars are reopened by the president come January next year, and someone enters inside when everything is safe and security is utmost somewhere there. So if you're to look at the situation, this is following up the case of Komamboga and why traders must be very vigilant. And on the matter of security affairs in terms of the business, Police Counter-Terrorism Director IGP Abbas Byakagaba has urged landlords to identify their tenants and be mindful of any suspicious people on their premises. He made the remarks after a bomb blast at Komamboga as a Kampala suburb, which killed one person and left 3 others critically injured in an attack that police has attributed to domestic tourism. The IGP Ochola ordered a crackdown on bars, eating points after the Komamboga attack. While addressing journalists, police spokesperson Fred Enanga said that the Inspector General of Police, John Martins Okoth Ochola, has directed police commanders to strictly enforce COVID-19 guidelines, especially on bars, eating points and entertainment places, among other areas that bring together a big number of people. More of the details.
Security guidance in order to forestall the activities of these negative people who last attacked us on the evening of Saturday.
On Saturday night, bomb blasts targeting revelers at a pork joint in Komamboga, Kampala suburb, killed 1 person and left 3 others critically injured in an attack the police has attributed to domestic terrorism. The Police Counter-Terrorism Director IGP Abbas Byakagaba therefore urged landlords to identify their tenants and be mindful of any suspicious people on their premises. Addressing journalists, police spokesperson Fred Enanga said that the Inspector General of Police, John Martins Okoth Ochola, has as well directed police commanders to strictly enforce COVID guidelines, especially in bars, eating points and entertainment places, among other areas that bring together a big number of people.
Landlords are specifically urged to take all necessary precautions to identify their tenants and be mindful of any suspicious people on their premises. 7, transporters, especially buses and taxi operators, border riders, bus terminals and taxi parks, stages of buses, taxis and borders, and any other areas involving movement of people are called upon to be extra vigilant on their customers and report all those that may cause suspicion.
We have the commitment and resolve. We have previously proved to Ugandans our capabilities regarding the many threats against this country. So even in this very respect, we believe we shall get to the bottom of this attack and have these suspects arrested and ensure that they are brought to justice.
On Sunday, police say the attack was an act of domestic terror, but when asked whether the Allied Democratic Forces rebel group is among domestic terror groups that are investigated, AIGP Byakagaba said they are casting the net wide to get to the bottom of the matter.
This incident is under investigations. And as you are aware, it took place on the night of Saturday. Let us not rush to what it is exactly, apart from what we are giving you. Even the materials and all other issues are under investigations. Kindly allow us to continue investigating this incident, and after a thorough investigations, we shall be able to give you the results of what we shall have found out.
The Inspector General of Police, John Martins Okoth Ochola, directed police commanders to strictly enforce COVID guidelines, especially on bars, points and entertainment places, among other areas that bring together a big number of people. Enanga said people have failed to realize the importance of voluntary compliance and use of common sense, which are very critical in stemming the spread of COVID, saying that the IGP has come out strongly to instruct all territorial commanders to step up COVID enforcement measures.
IGP came up strongly and instructed all territorial commanders to step up their COVID-19 enforcement measures. You're aware we are entering the month of November, where we expect at least tertiary institutions to open, especially for university students. We are already seeing an increase in certain behaviors and activities that are in total violation of the COVID-19 health and safety protocols. A number of individuals, including groups, these days not bothered at all about the threats of COVID. People are becoming more maskless, and social distancing and blatant disregard for the curfew. Even after this incident, yesterday we rounded up people in Namugongo who were partying.
Without necessarily linking it to the Komamboga incident, the police spokesperson said many bars and entertainment places are forcefully reopened in total disregard of the COVID guidelines and SOPs, noted that these are to face the wrath of the law after the latest directive by IGP Ochola. Without necessarily linking it to the Komamboga incident, the police spokesperson said many bars and entertainment places have forcefully reopened in total disregard of the COVID-19 guidelines and SOPs, but noted that these are to face the wrath of the law after the latest directive by the IGP Ochola, saying that they're going to crack down every bar and food point that is going to operate past a few hours. That means if you're a bar operating beyond 7 p.m. and your restaurant beyond 7 p.m. to 5:30, you're doomed, because you're going to be cracked down, and police is actually looking for all of you. And definitely the best part of it all is that Chitalia Oluzira is actually wide open for some of you, so I guess you should pay a serious caution of the situation. If you were to look at the situation that is happening, the Inspector General of Police, John Martin, has directed the police commanders to strictly enforce COVID-19 guidelines, especially in bars, eating points and entertainment places, among other areas that bring together a big number of people. Nanga, while addressing the media, said people have failed to realize the importance of voluntary compliance and use of common sense, which are very critical in stemming the spread of COVID-19, saying that the IGP has come out boldly to strongly instruct all territorial commanders to step up COVID enforcement measures. Moving on to the next one. The government of Uganda signed a loan agreement amounting to $175 million to fund the second Kampala Institutional and Infrastructure Development Project. Engineer Justice Akankwasa, the Acting Director of Engineering and Technical Services of Kampala City Council Authority, has said that Kampala City Council Authority has put emphasis on improving urban mobility and connectivity in order to spur economic growth in Kampala and Uganda. He said this while addressing journalists at the Uganda Media Center. More of this story. Engineer Justice Akankwasa, the Acting Director of Engineering and Technical Services of KCCA, has said that KCCA has put more emphasis on improving urban mobility and connectivity in order to spur economic growth in Kampala and Uganda. He said this while addressing journalists at the Uganda Media Center.
Over the years, KCCA has put emphasis on improving urban mobility and connectivity in order to spur economic growth in Kampala and Uganda. As we talk today, KCCA has a road network of 2,100 kilometers. And of those 2,100 kilometers, 646 kilometers are tarmacked. So you can see we still have a big duty to have all these roads fixed. All of us attest that we have tried our best to embark on tarmacking these roads, as I will be illustrating. The tarmac roads that we are carrying out recently, as you have observed, they are wide. They have double lanes in some of the sections. They are fitted with traffic lights. We have walkways on them to cater for pedestrians, and we have also street lighting.
He says that all of us here can attest to using some of these roads, which are wide, tarmacked, some have double lanes in each direction, junctions fitted with traffic lights, walkways, street lighting, and road signs to guide motorists and pedestrians.
In spite of these impressive achievements in expanding the road network, traffic congestion, of course, remains the concern of Kampala City and the greater metropolitan area. It remains a concern because it causes massive delays. There is lost productivity and economic losses. We have insecurity, pollution, and in many cases we have also accidents. A number of factors contribute to traffic jams in this city. One of them, of course, is the rising number of the population, and of course the rising number of usage of private vehicles, and also other transport modes that have increased of late, borders and taxis.
He noted that besides these impressive achievements in expanding the road network in Kampala, traffic congestion remains a major public concern in the city and the greater Kampala metropolitan area, resulting in massive delays, lost productivity, economic losses, among others.
Allow me to highlight some of the things that we have achieved under KIDIP 2. We received funding of United States dollars 175 million under KIDIP 2 funding. And the government of Uganda had its share in terms of compensating plot owners, those who wanted it, who demanded it. But we are very, very grateful that even when we are implementing this KIDIP 2, the citizens surrendered part of their land for the sake of the project. They were very understanding, knowing that we have budgetary constraints. The residents of Kurambiro, Kabusu, Bunamwaya, Rweza, and Lukuri Road deserve special mention. They did us very good, and that's why you see those roads now fixed. The project of KIDIP 2 became effective in May 2015. It has had a number of extensions because of COVID-19 and the challenges of acquisition of land. And now we are focusing on having it completed end of November 2021. Under this project, we have done quite a lot. We have improved and done dueling of Shira Road. We have upgraded Mambre Road. We have reconstructed and dueled Makerere Hill Road. We have reconstructed and dueled Bakuri Nakravi Kasubi Road. And along those roads, we have 12 junctions that are fitted with traffic lights, push buttons for pedestrians, and signage.
He says that the government of Uganda signed a loan agreement amounting to $175 million to fund the second Kampala Institutional and Infrastructure Development Project that is being implemented by Kampala Capital City Authority, KCCA. Government of Uganda provided $12 million for compensating property owners along the roads and draining sites under construction. The government of Uganda signed a loan agreement amounting to $175 million to fund the second Kampala Institutional and Infrastructure Development Project that is being implemented by Kampala Capital City Authority, KCCA. The government of Uganda provided $12 million for compensating property owners along the roads and drainage sites under construction, with the ongoing construction of different roads and terminals in Kampala to actually add more on the development of the city and facilitate the smooth running of daily activities in the city. Let's head to the international scene and check out what is making headlines from the world of business. Starting off from our neighbors in the south, Tanzania has invited Chinese investors to explore opportunities in the mining sector as the government takes practical measures to improve the business and investment climate. Let's check this out.
Extending the invitation, the ambassador of Tanzania to China, Mbelwa Kairuki, said the ongoing measures that the government is taking are underpinned by inclusive growth, competitiveness, and transformation. To ease investment in the mining sector, Kairuki said the government is taking bold measures to construct supportive infrastructure and putting in place policies and regulations that are predictable. Tanzania has a lot to offer and has created an environment conducive for investment with abundant mining resources unexploited. We can confidently say that mining resources in Tanzania is a sunrise. According to Kairuki, cognizant of the challenges those investors are facing, the government has taken strategic measures aimed at solving bottlenecks in infrastructure. So far, the entire country has been connected with tarmac roads, and the government has vitalized existing central railway line from Dar es Salaam to the northwest part of Tanzania, where there are mining sites. Moreover, the government is building a standard gauge railway that it will make it even easier to transport mining cargoes from different cities to the port of Dar es Salaam, he said. The envoy also briefed the Chinese investors on the country's ongoing process to revitalize Tanzania-Zambia railway line from Dar es Salaam to the southern part of Tanzania. Kairuki also explained the measures that were taken on the marine sector, saying that 3 ports along the Indian Ocean and 1 in Zanzibar are strategically positioned to serve investors and members of the business community. In the electricity sector, the government has a goal to generate and connect to the national grid a total of 10,000 megawatts, a strategy that will become possible upon completion of the ongoing construction of the Julius Nyerere hydropower project along Rufiji River.
If you look at the electricity sector in Tanzania, the government has a goal to generate and connect to the national grid a total of 10,000 megawatts, a strategy that will become possible upon completion on the ongoing construction of the Julius Nyerere hydropower project along the Rufiji River. If you're to look at some other cases, Tanzania has a lot to offer and has created an environment conducive for investment with abundant mining resources unexploited, and they can confidently say they are ready for the mining to take progress. As you can see, the Chinese companies and the Chinese government still is setting routes in African countries, and meanwhile this time round from Tanzania's mining sector. Moving on. Walmart has announced that the corporate staff will return to office in November this year. It actually announced that its corporate employees will return to office during the week of November 8th, according to the statement from the company. Let's have a look at this story.
Donna Morris, Chief People Officer, said in a statement that they had a way of working before the pandemic and developed an effective way of working during the pandemic. Walmart, with nearly 1.6 million U.S. employees in the nation's largest private retailer, the majority of the company's employees work in its warehouses and brick-and-mortar stores. Many of those in-stores employees who have to follow President Joe Biden's mandate requiring people to work for businesses with more than 100 employees get vaccinated or do weekly testing. Walmart's global tech team of about 10,000 is excluded from the return to office plans. In May, Walmart announced its tech workers would continue working remotely even post-pandemic. Morris said all campus accessories will be fully vaccinated or have an approved accommodation in November. And in late July, the company announced all campus office associates and regional should be vaccinated by October 4th, unless they have an approved exception. In early October, Walmart said the overwhelming majority have been vaccinated. Morris said employees will hear from the leaders soon on expectations. The company is headquartered in Bentonville, Arkansas, and is currently building a new campus in the city. Walmart also has offices in Hoboken, NJ, as well as San Bruno and Sunnyvale, California.
Okay, away from that, that's winding up our news hour this particular moment, and just stick around. I'll be back with more from the topical discussion. This is SMB.